Fox News host Tucker Carlson last night railed against protecting workers and customers when it comes to, of course, having employees be vaccinated. He even compared the requirements for employees to get vaccinated to Jim Crow. Take a look.
Pretty much everybody agreed that segregation was the worst thing this country ever did. Forcing certain categories of citizens into separate, lesser accommodations, barring them from public places, treating them like lepers or untouchables, that was completely immoral and wrong. We were told that a lot, and most of us strongly agreed. It was wrong. So imagine our confusion today looking out across the country. The very same people, literally the very same, who just the other day told us that segregation was immoral, are now enforcing segregation. Should we be surprised? Probably not, but we still are. Just this morning, the New York Times informed us that unless you can prove you have taken the injection that the Democratic Party demands you take, you are no longer permitted in bars, comedy clubs, even some dance competitions in the state of New York. You're too dirty to appear in public. You're not welcome near normal people. Want to watch the NBA playoffs in person? You had better be vaccinated to do that. Otherwise, the New York Knicks will bar you from Madison Square Garden. You can still go see a baseball game if you want to, but be warned, you will be sitting in your own roped-off section, marinating in your shame with the other disobedient bad people. Medical Jim Crow has come to America. If we still had water fountains, the unvaccinated would have separate ones.
Wow! There's a lot to unpack there. Jesus. I do love how it feels like he almost slipped. I swear to God, guy probably does this on purpose, as like bait for us. Like, oh no, go ahead. I'm gonna give you this one for free. He almost said, oh yeah, everybody agrees that segregation is the worst thing we've seen. Yeah, we've ever had. Yep, I almost said best here. Yeah. I mean, of course, the ones who thought segregation is great are the ones who watch me. Wow. Yeah, almost. Did he almost slip, or was that on purpose just to drive us crazy? You never know with Tucker Carlson. All right. That said, okay. Jim Crow, huh? Wow, that's quite the comparison there, Tucker. Here's the thing. It's not comparable at all. You could choose to be vaccinated or choose not to be vaccinated. I know, but if you don't choose to be vaccinated, then you're going to marinate in your shame. Good. Marinate away. Again, the consequences of not getting vaccinated is mainly like social pressure, right? Oh, you're going to get canceled or whatever, right? Because you've chosen to be a walking petri dish and endanger everybody around you, or at least inconvenience everybody around you. I mean, how convenient it is to get sick because somebody decided not to wear a mask, not to get vaccinated. I mean, inconvenient, right? At least. But hey, it's America. You do have that choice, right? Now, when it comes to segregation, understand that black and brown people don't have a choice. They can't turn off their black. They can't choose to go and be not black. I can't believe I have to explain this to people. But apparently I do. Apparently I have to explain this to Tucker Carlson, and he claims to be a really, really smart guy. But again, not vaccinating is your choice. It's a dumb choice. And I think that unless you're allergic to vaccines, and if you're hesitant and you're part of the black community, I can definitely understand some hesitancy there, based on some of the horrible shit that the United States has done to the black population, experimentation, and things like that. I still think that you should get the vaccine. But you can educate yourself about it, about what's in it, look up what's in it. And by educate, I don't mean look up shitty YouTube videos. I'm just saying, probably leads you down a path of misinformation or disinformation. Don't go there, but like actually go and read the actual ingredients in it. You'll find it's like mostly the mRNA thing, as well as polyethylene glycol, which is basically laxative, salt, and some other things. Yeah. So make sure, yeah, not to fall down a misinformation hole, but to look up the actual facts about this from reputable sources, CDC, for example, and other factual outlets. Just saying. Okay. And again, I understand hesitancy, but please go get vaccinated. You know why? Because you're protecting yourself. And when businesses, of course, mandate this, they're protecting their customers, they're protecting their vendors, they're protecting their employees, they're protecting everyone. I mean, why would you not want to do that? Look, and understand that, like, personally, I don't like needles. I have white coat syndrome. I don't like doctors. I don't like going to the doctor. I don't like being poked and prodded. But yeah, hey, look, and by the way, all the doctors, nurses, whatever in the audience, I love you. I know you're doing your job. I don't begrudge that at all. I'm just not a fan of receiving shots. I don't like it, but I did it. I still did it, and you should all do it. I did my part. You know why? Because I'm part of a community, a society, if you will. And in society, we're actually supposed to act in ways that are not destructive to the rest of society. And maybe, I don't know, since we get a benefit from living in a society, perhaps we should protect that society. But obviously, that's communism, and Tucker doesn't want to hear about my kind of commie talk. Just saying. But anyway, I mean, community, right? More like commune, socialist. All right, anyway. But understand, this is an example, by the way, of the right-wing populism, which is, notice how Tucker Carlson does the so-called right-wing populism, which is basically anti-corporate, right? So now he's anti-corporate mainly because in this instance, it's employee safety and consumer safety. All right, now understand that, by the way, this is not because corporations suddenly care about people. They don't. But no, this is a way for companies to save money. They don't have to spend as much on cleaning supplies. They also, don't have to deal with employees that get sick and not be able to come into work. Right now, there seems to be a little bit of a, labor shortage, mainly because wages are too low. You raise the wage and people will want to go and work, and all that stuff. That said, it also makes customers, when people are vaxxed, more comfortable, more willing to come to your store and spend money. And of course, that equals profit. Again, I can't believe I have to explain this to people, but here we are. All right. So now, obviously, again, I mentioned that companies don't give a shit about you, about their workers. And again, a good example is the people who worked at Tyson. Okay. Working in close quarters, they got coronavirus, and it ended up being a complete another PR nightmare. And these meatpacking companies who didn't protect their employees, which, by the way, a lot of their employees happen to be immigrants of color. And so they got sick. They caused several outbreaks in several towns and cities. And a lot of people ended up dying. It was a PR nightmare for Tyson. Okay. So that's a good example of companies not giving a shit about regular people. Okay. And so these companies, they don't want to go through that. Like, no. Now that we have a vaccine, we're going to make sure that, people work there and who, shop there, if it's like a store or anything like that, a marketplace, that, we protect the consumer. Makes sense. Again, this also tries to encourage people to get vaccinated so that if you, for example, I live in Michigan, right? Michigan is pretty slow to open up because they're doing it on number of people vaccinated. You get up to a certain number of people vaccinated and, you get to open up, increase capacity, which again is better for business. So there's that. Now, the other thing about right-wing populism espoused by people like Tucker Carlson is that, once again, they're only anti-corporate because some of these companies have gone, quote unquote, woke. You've all seen that. You all know that. Now, when companies, it's total disingenuous bullshit, by the way, because when companies were crushing workers, and but we're still on their side and not pandering to the LGBT community, to black people, saying BLM or any of that stuff. Well, then obviously the a lot of these right wingers are totally fine with corporations doing whatever they want. In fact, when owners were allowed to be bigoted, these people cheered. But when these companies started saying, "Hey, you know what? Maybe I don't know, like money from transgender people is still green, still spends the same. Maybe we should not be bigoted toward them. Maybe we should at least try to, feign that we care about them so we get PR points and, oh, look, we're woke and people will want to spend money. And look, honestly, it's smart marketing because that's the way society is going. More accepting. And I think it's generally a good thing. But these right wingers, very, very angry. It gets them very, very triggered for some reason. But understand, when they started going woke, this is when the right wing, the so-called populist right, started being massively anti-corporate. These are incredibly empty gestures designed to boost sales. Everybody can see that. But again, right-wing populism and left-wing populism, they're so deeply different for many different reasons. And I think that's important to point out. And that's why, of course, we shouldn't try to forge ties with Tucker Carlson, who says this kind of stuff, who is openly anti-vax. If you're going to go on Tucker Carlson's show, kick his ass and then make an actual leftist populist argument without giving him or any of his dangerous views any sort of credence. Because again, this is the stuff that he believes. This is the stuff that he says for an audience, and it is incredibly dangerous. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.